Hello and welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. Apologies for us being a little bit late in the day. It's my fault. I do apologise, but we are finally here and we are finally live. And what have we got to look forward to this weekend? Well, it's racing back at Cheltenham. It's the Cheltenham Showcase meeting. Absolutely fantastic racing back at the HQ of the Jumps Racing calendar. We love Cheltenham, boys. Rich, I'll come to you first, mate. Obviously, we've got the Old Roan as well at Aintree, another decent race to look at, but it's racing back at Cheltenham, mate. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, it should be good. There's some quite good novice handicaps and all that going on. So there should be some interesting runners.
Yeah, and you, Joe, I mean, obviously, we've kicked off the jump season with Chepstow and things like that, and there's some good racing so far, but it's good to be back at Cheltenham, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, 100%, mate. There's some novices, some good novices as well, and it'll be very, very telling to see who's taking offences and who hasn't.
Yeah, there's some good races. I know the grounds maybe come up a little bit lively and there's been a few non-runners, but we're going to get straight stuck into the action anyway and a few pointers to talk about later on. So let's go for it. We've got a couple of races on the Friday and then the main day on the Saturday, and then we'll finish off with the Old Roan on the Sunday. So the first race we're going to look at is tomorrow. The first race on Friday, the 135. Affadil's in here as favourite. Black Poppy, Shetland Tony, Teddy Blue. I'll come to you, Rich. Have you had a bit of a look at this race? Have you got a strong opinion?
Yes, the one I've landed on is Affadil for Paul Nicholls. It's going to be his first one since wind surgery. That normally brings out a little bit of improvement in horses. So, he won well at Elm on his last start on soft over 2 miles. So he gets a trip. I was reading Nicholls' stable tour, and apparently he says he's improved again. So that's always a good sign. Mr. Frieden, who was fourth in the Ascot race, also returned this month and ran very well at Fontwell. He came second. So I think the form of that Ascot is quite good. Affadil's the one I'd probably be landing on for this one.
I like it. I think Nicholls has got quite a strong hand on the Friday personally over the couple of races we're going to speak about. But Joe, I mean, are you in the Affadil camp? I mean, it's a tight little handicap hurdle to kick us off.
Yeah, I definitely think it's on the top two in the market. I don't really want to swing anywhere. Black Poppy, I seen a stat that Kerry Lee is 5 from 9 this season, so her runners are running very well. Very impressive in the Swinton hurdle. And Adam Wedge has got the ride, and he was on last time. To be fair, the clock backed up his run in the Swinton hurdle, and it was pretty impressive. Although he's given a lot of weight away to Affadil, I do like him at a bit of an each way price. However, I wouldn't put it off, like Rich said there, after the wind up. Affadil coming out and trouncing these and being a little bit better than them.
Yeah, I'm a little bit with you there, lads. To be honest, I think Affadil's going to be tough to beat. Obviously, it's a tight handicap to kick off the card, but I wouldn't say I've got the strongest opinion in the world on the race. I've got a bit more strong opinions on later down the line, but I think it'll be a good one for Nicholls to get Affadil up in front. I think he's a decent horse, and fingers crossed he goes and wins. A 3-1 for Affadil there. Good start. So the next race was the 210, but we weren't going to look at that. It's only a 4-runner race, but I will just give a quick mention. Nicholls got a runner in there, Jetronic. He's a 4-year-old from France. I'm really interested to see how that horse goes on Chase debut, so fingers crossed that one can run well. So the 245 is a novices hurdle. This looks a really, really good race, does this? You've got Lucinda Russell's El Elefante in currently as favourite. Looks a really talented horse. Tagman's come over for Emery de Bromhead. Canto Bruno, obviously, who's switched over to Gavin Cromwell. That's an interesting stable switch. And then you've got a couple others in here. I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, obviously, El Elefante, look, we don't know how much she don't know how much she beat at that race previously, but she looks pretty talented. Don't you think she's got a chance here against the boys?
Yeah, definitely. She's obviously got a chance, but I do quite like Tagman, a bit of an Irish raider. Second in August. No, it wasn't August. Yes, it was. August in Galway too. High class hero.
Good horse.
Pardon?
I'm saying that High Class Hero is a good horse. It's good form, mate.
Yeah, mate. Very good horse. Obviously, that form's sort of been boosted throughout the season. And then battered Rivitara for Willie Munns and Paul Townend last time out, winning 14 lengths. I just think that the form's a bit more solid. Elefante could be anything. Obviously, he had the money as well, so it is of interest. But there's always that question: and obviously giving weight away as well. Tagman. So for me, it's probably not a betting race. I'll definitely be watching to see how Elephant gets on, and this will be probably a true test, and you'll probably see where the horse is at in terms of what level, not just beating, run of the mill, low grade handicappers by 20 odd lengths.
Yeah, no, it's right, mate. It's a good race. If she does come and win this race, I think we can definitely put her down as a very exciting mare. What about you, Rich? I mean, obviously the form, we're not too sure. She won any which way she liked, but can she go and beat these?
Yeah, that's my only question mark. How strong is that form? I mean, she runs off bottom weight here, which I think will be an advantage. So I can see why she's favourite. There's a couple that I did look at as well, just away from her. There's Isaac Deobo, is it?
Isaac Deobo.
Yeah, a close relation to Clan. So hopefully he's got some ability. Nichols said he was a big, weak horse last season, and he was probably wrong to run him a handful of times. So I assume he's probably grown over the summer and has strengthened up. I think he's also had a wind up. So like Affadil, you're probably going to see some improvement from him. And the other one I like is the Encanto Bruno. New run for the yard. It's a dual bumper winner. And won on Hurdle's debut, but was a big letdown at Galway. Pulled up when favourite. So he's on a sort of recovery mission, but hopefully the new stable can revive his form. So he's there too that potentially look at against the favourite. But it's just a case of how good could she be really with Elefante.
Yeah, I think she's definitely a worthy favourite. I think for what we've seen so far, she's definitely got to be up there. I think the Tagman form is definitely quite strong. I mean, if you go back and watch that last run, obviously Rachel comes over for the ride. It definitely took a big chance at that final hurdle. He just got over it, but one sort of anyway he liked. The one I do quite like, and I would take a little bit of a chance in here just because I'm not too sure what I think about this El Elefante just yet. I want to see her go and do it really before I really get behind her. But the one you just mentioned there, it's for Nichols, Isaac Desobo. I quite like this one. I think I read it somewhere that he basically said that he was never going to be a bumper horse, and the fact that he won first time out in his bumper, I think was a bit of a Billy bonus for him. And he's just not a sharp 2 mile bumper horse. He's one that wants hurdles, wants to go up in trip. Obviously gets that tomorrow, goes up 2 mile 4. Obviously you're taking a punt on one first time out against a couple that have already jumped hurdles, but if Nichols has got him schooled pretty well, I think it could be quite overpriced. You can get sort of 8-1 currently, which I don't think it's a bad little each way price against, just in case the top of the market aren't quite as good as they maybe think they are. But I don't think Elefante is a worthy favourite. I want to see her go and do it, really, to be honest with you. So I'll go for Isaac Desobo as a little bit of an each way squeak against as well. Lovely. Right. So the next race we're going to move on to is the 320. This is a nice little race. It's a handicap chase. Novices handicap chase. Nichols again has got one in here. Ginny's Destiny. Moon Hunter's in here. Dal Jacob on board. Idialco Bihu. That's how you pronounce that. A horse I've spoke about probably in the past for the Twiston Davis team. And there's a few others in here. I'll come to you, Rich. Are you going to go with the favourite for Nichols? It's shot. It's 11-4 currently. What are you thinking?
The one I've landed on is Ginny's Destiny. Nichols said that he doesn't know too much about him. So he's recently moved to the Nichols yard. I think they're running just to see how good he is going to actually be. So you're kind of hoping that he is going to be a good one. He was a useful hurdler for Tom Lacey last year. And he makes his debut over fences. So I think he should suit being a chaser. So he's probably one I'm going to side with and hope that he's a good one, and I'm sure Nichols will only improve him as the season goes on.
Yeah, that's a fair point, mate. I mean, Joe, are you going to be in agreement with him with the favourite? Has Nichols got another run, or have you found anything down the market?
No, mate, I'm all over this one, to be fair. He did make a nice hurdler last year, but obviously switched from Tom Lacey to Paul Nichols, which I found interesting. He's well related to the Grade 1 winning chaser, God's Own, 3-time Grade 1 winner. So that is sort of swaying me towards the fact that I think he will take to these very well. He seemed like he would anyway. He's a big horse. And obviously making stable chase and handicap debut. So, like Rich said there is a lot going on. And Nichols, probably just wants to find out where this horse is at and what his targets are going to be for the season coming up. But in terms of horses in the race, I think he's definitely one who could come out and win by 20 lengths, and we could be saying, oh, Nichols has got a good one here. Do you know what I mean, for the chasing season?
Yeah, I think they're all fair points. I think he's got a good chance. I think the only thing that maybe put me off him a touch was maybe how good the ground's going to be. Obviously, it was well beaten last time out. Well, it was the end of the season, obviously. It was well beaten on good ground, but that maybe just put me off. So I kind of looked down the market a little bit. And the one I maybe landed on as a little bit of an each-way play was another Irish raider. You'll like this, Joe. Henry de Bromhead's horse in here, Downtown Queen.
Yeah.
Now, quite listen, she's obviously one of the only two mares in this race. And
she's about 10 to 1.
Yeah, well, I did a little bit of bet on her the other day. She was 16 to 1. She's now into 10 to 1. So she's obviously seen a little bit of money. I don't know if there's any real falls or anything, but she's 10 to 1 currently, sort of 9-8 to 1 in a couple of other places. So she's been nibbled at a little bit. She gets £18 from Ginny's Destiny. So I just thought I'd give her a little bit of a squeak. She won off 109 at Wexford, and it was only a fourth run over fences. She was second in a handicap. She won with plenty in hand that day on soft ground, but again, she's won on good ground. So I think good soft ground, good ground. She'll find it not too bad. So I just think if they can hold on to her long enough and play her late on, I think she's got a bit of a chance. So I'm going to give her a chance. Downtown Queen each way at around 10 to 1 currently.
James,
yes.
Is there any reason that Rachel isn't on?
I don't think so.
Conor McNamara's on. I looked through, and obviously she's there the race before for Tagman. I just didn't know if there was any reason, or I didn't know if you knew anything.
I don't know anything. The only thing I can think of is maybe it's connections, ownership, something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's something to do with the weight. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Not too sure. But like I say, she's decent on better ground. She's back in trip a little bit, so she got a little bit outstayed last time, but she was back in trip where she won. So fingers crossed, she gets all the way. She could outrun her on. She could bomb out. We'll see. But Downtown Queen for me. Right, so the last race we're going to speak about is a pretty tasty race, to be honest, on the Friday. The Grade 2 novice hurdle over 2 mile or 2 mile, half a furlong. You've got, a team of last time out winners in here, lads. You've got Toto 2, Cam Sinas has gone in second favourite. Willie the Builder, who's one of my favourites. Active Authority was a tracker horse winner for us the other week. Look Away, Heidi Wood. A nice one for James Snowden. Parade Away and Infuse. I thought I'd best give them all a mention because they all look like really nice horses. Some people might crab it, but I think this is a tasty race. I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, it's a really open race for me. Who have you landed on?
Honestly, mate, it couldn't be far from a betting race for me. Anything could, for me, any horse. I wouldn't be surprised if any horse won this race, to be honest. You just don't know, like you said, last time out winners. The one I do like is obviously the Irish Raider, Keith Donoghue on, Peter Fahey. Was beaten on debut by You Ought to Know for Willie Mullins, but had Eamon Fitzgerald. Eamon Fitzgerald on that day, £7 claimer. And You Ought to Know had already ran. So to come 2 lengths away, to be beaten by 2 lengths by that horse, I don't think was bad at all. And then beat Royal Hollow pretty easily. He's down towards the end, comfortable. And then he come out and he proved that the engine's still there. He didn't jump unbelievably well, but he put away a Barry Connell horse, #Pretender, pretty easily. And I just think if he's had that one run now, I think he'll get a stronger run race. And I think the slight increase in trip should suit. And I think if he concentrates and he jumps a bit better, I think he could put these to bed pretty easily.
It's a bold statement to say he could put them away pretty easily, but we'll certainly find out.
Well, if he jumps well.
Yeah, and I'll come to you then, Rich. I mean, it's a tight race. It's a little bit of, there could be anything. I'm not saying they're all going to go on and win like festival races and things, but they could all definitely get to a decent level. I mean, who have you landed on in this?
I'm going to go for Willie the Builder in this. I was swaying with Active Authority, but he had a bit of a mishap at the last time out, and it could have cost him. So Yeah, I'm going to land on Willie the Builder. I think, winner on hurdles debut last time out at Utoxeter over 1 mile 7. Takes us out to 2 miles, shouldn't be too much of an issue. That was on good to soft, I believe. I think, like you say, it's a tough race, but I think Willie the Builder, I think his race at Utoxeter was one of the strongest out of the ones that are in here. So that's kind of the reason why I landed on him. But yeah, I think he could be a useful recruit for the season ahead. But yeah, it's a tricky race.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, I do like Willie the Builder, and I'll kind of say whatever you just said then, I will agree with. I think he's got form in with a couple of other horses that I like. And obviously, I mean, if you go back through, he's been behind Brighter Days Ahead. Angelo Dundee obviously must come out and be a good horse. We won't see what he looks like. But I thought he won the Utoxeter race anyway, he liked, and he looked impressive. Skelton's had a couple of nice horses that day. Rockhouse obviously went on and did well in the Persian War. But Camsinas looked quite strong last time. I don't really have much information myself on Toto 2, so I'll go on what Joe says there. But I thought Active Authority, he won his race. Don't get me wrong, he won it anyway, but his jumping was a little bit suspect. And if he makes any sort of little mishaps like he did that in this sort of race, I think he'll probably be found out. Might be one for a bit further in trip, potentially. The only other one I maybe look at each way, ID Wood. I quite like ID Wood for Jamie Snowden and Gavin Sheehan's on board. If you go back and watch that race last time out, I mean, for me, it looked well beat at one point, but then within a second, it looked like a really confident ride. He just come flying through and won, going away comfortably. So I'm intrigued to see how he gets on. He'll like the ground being on the better side of good. And I think, I mean, it's a tough race. You're talking 3-1 the field near enough. The top 4 are near enough the same price. I just think ID Wood at 25-1 could be one to outrun the odds. I quite like him. So I'll probably have him, and I might have a little play on Willie the Builder, but it's a tough race. It won't be one I'll be getting stuck into too heavily money-wise. So just maybe have a little play and enjoy the race, and we'll see how it goes. Fantastic. So that'll be it for Friday. So we're going to move on to the Saturday now, and we're going to do the first race we're going to look at is the 1:15, the handicap chase. Hang on, I'll just put this up. What's this? We're going to a comment from Jack here. Yes, lads, lucky smart. Woodsy, can see why you was late. Aphrodite is my nap. And Connor MC runs for connections a lot. So we'll be reasoning behind him jumping on. Yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see, mate. Let's see.
Yeah, Connor was. I just had a quick look there. Connor was on twice before, so that's probably why.
Right.
And the reason why I was late is because I've just been having to pay my cleaner in my obviously new nice holiday home that you can see behind. Oh, fantastic. Right, lads. So we're going to move on now to the 1:15 on Saturday. The handicap chase, 2 mile. Hadex Deso Bo for the Gary Moore teams in here. Red Rookie, Emma Lavelle. Guy for the Twiston Davis teams. Before midnight, Fergal O'Brien, who's flying at the moment. I'll come to you, Joe. Kick us off with the winner on Saturday, mate. Who have you got your eyes on in here?
I really like the favourite mate for Gary Moore and Jamie Moore. Was bought from France, and obviously, you know, the record from coming over to France to England maybe sometimes isn't so good, and he was pretty disappointing on debut at Fontwell, and he was 13-8 favourite, and then second time out he won, and he won pretty well, comfortably in the end. Last season he unseated at the start, come second at Kempton, and then won at Doncaster to end the season, and I just felt like he's been a horse that maybe sometimes hasn't had a rub of the green. He got heavy ground last time out against Galop de Chassé and battered him 19 lengths. Although we really I don't think the form's brilliant. This horse has the same sire as the Editor de G, I believe.
Well said.
For the Moon stable, and I feel like that they believe he is better than what he's shown. And I think they've give him some time and some rest. I think he'll have filled out. He looked weak last season. And I think as a 6-year-old now against these 8-year-olds and 7-year-olds, there is one 5-year-old in the race, 2 5-year-olds, sorry. But everyone else really is about 8. And I think he's probably one improver in these handicaps. And I think he probably will prove to be better than a handicapper later on in his career.
Yeah, that's interesting, Joe. I like your explanation. You know, I'll come to you, Rich. I mean, Alex does look quite a pretty strong favourite. And, you know, are you with the same one, or are you going for something else before I go for mine?
No, I'm the same camp as Joe. He was very progressive last season, won a couple of chase handicaps, a 19th length winner last time out, like Joe said. He beat That's All Right Gino last December, who has then gone on to win a Grade 2 at Ayr in April. So I think he's a good horse, and he beat him last year. So I think he holds strong form, and I think he's back down in trip here, but I don't think that'll be too much of an issue because he's won over shorter when he was doing some national flat racing. So he's definitely got some speed. So yeah, I'm quite strong on this favourite.
No, that's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, he's a strong favourite. I mean, I've kind of swayed against him, believe it or not. But and obviously where I've been and the reason why I was late, which I'll announce sort of later on, one of the people who I've been speaking to kind of put me off as well, and he's sort of in and amongst Gary Moore's stable, so he didn't even go for him. I'll let you know that. Take that with a pinch of salt. The one I've obviously you go through Alec Dizabo's form. He has bit That's All Right Gino form. He's pretty strong. The one I quite like in here is Not Long Till May. For Morgan, I think he's got a good chance in here. I know his top weight is 12 stone, but he had an entry in the Old Roan, but they're going for this instead, which makes you wonder why. But he was 3 from 3 last season before he went and come second, obviously in the Turners behind Stage Star, who Joe believes is going to win the Ryanair. So if you haven't watched the Cheltenham anti-post countdown show, week one, make sure you go back and watch that for Joe's reasoning on that. And obviously had Mighty Potter back in third, who was obviously sadly no longer with us, bless his soul. To me, it's the strongest form here, and I get, it's the classic. He's a Grade 1 horse, 12, top weight and handicap sort of thing, and I do think he's going to go on and win this. I think if he's primed for it, ready to go, I think he could well win this. There's a few question marks against this. The only other one I will mention is probably Before Midnight. He won this race back in 2021. Off 136. He's recently switched yards. He's gone to Fergal O'Brien. And he's a 10-year-old, don't get me wrong, and it's going to be tough for him, but he's off £1 lower tomorrow, and he's got Ben Sutton on board who takes £7 off him. So, he had a prep run over hurdles. So you've got to take notice of that. He's had the similar sort of prep run over hurdles. Could be primed for it. Could be primed for a big run. He's 10-year-old, so it's going to be tough. But my main selection is going to be Not Long Till May. He's going to get about 10-1. I think he could just be better than these overall. And with Alex Dizobo coming off a bit of a break, a long break, you just never know. Sometimes it can be a little bit fresh going over fences straight away again. So we shall see what happens. But I'm going to go Not Long Till May. Fingers crossed. Fantastic. Right. So the next race we're going to go for is the 150. And this is another hurdle race over 2 mile. You've got, Nichols could have a pretty decent weekend, but he's got the favourite in here, Blue King de Roe. And then you've got another Gary Moore horse in Spirit de No. A few French types in here, French names. Punta de Este, Boys Gilbert. And that's as far as I'm going to go. The rest, I'll come to you, Rich. I forgot who I went to last time, but Rich.
Where's this Jim? Sorry you interrupt. Oh, Toy.
Sounds like I was reading a French race out, doesn't it?
I know.
Well, Blue King de Roe's got Harry Cobden. I'll come to you. We make the jokes on this podcast, guys. Honestly, if you're not subscribed, you should be. Rich, I'll come to you, mate. Are you with the favourite in this one, or are you going to go against?
No, I'm with Blue King. I'll not try and pronounce his last name, but he actually beat Affadil last season at Ascot, who runs on the Friday. So if Affadil absolutely bolts up, then he's definitely going to front the form for this kid. He did run well at Aintree, but Nichols said he got in front a bit too soon and he got headed at the last, and then I think he finished about second. So I think also Nichols said he's improved physically, so I think potentially he could be a nice one as well to follow for the rest of the season. So Blue King for me.
Yeah, I mean, Blue King's obviously shocking, but he had his wind surgery and then he bolted up. Well, he won at 50-1, like you say, where he beat Affadil. I mean, they definitely were thinking that were going to happen, and obviously it did. And then
he was also carrying top weight as well in that race when he beat Affadil.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Obviously, it was a good run, and I think he'd come second next time out under a penalty as well, which again was another good run. Just whether you'd be taking him on, well, we'll take him at a short price tomorrow, sort of 6-4 maybe. But what about you, Joe? Are you with him, or are you going to be with someone else?
Yeah, to be fair, mate, I wouldn't touch this race betting wise, but I am with a favourite. Yeah, well, I am quite excited to see how he gets on. You'll probably hear it mentioned a lot, and hear us mention it a lot. You know, when horses come over from France, they often take a season to sort of come out the shell. And he was pulled up on his first start.
Sorry about that, Rumble. Sorry, carry
Are
on,
you
mate.
not? Sorry, mate. His first run was in a Triumph Trial, juvenile hurdle, where he was pulled up. So they clearly thought a lot of him. And then he finished 9th out of 14 after he was pulled up in that race. And I think they got to December and they just thought, right, we're going to put this lad away, give him a nice break, little wind up, and see how he comes back. And then beat Affadil, and Affadil had Harry Cobden on that day, so you could possibly say was more fancied. Well, definitely was, because Blue King, I'm not going to say Dohoro, went off
I'm
at 50.
£5 claimer on that day, did Blue King.
Yeah, was it Angus Cheldy or something?
Skelada.
That's it, yeah. And then was beaten by Punctuation. Obviously, it's not a massive boost, but Punctuation did win on the flat at York when I was there the other week. So the pulled well clear as well of the horse in third, Washington, and obviously Blue King had a penalty that day, so I think is well in here, and I think should go very well. However, I'm not prepared to take the very short price, I believe, on him.
Yeah, it's a tight race. It's one of them where it's not, you might get a couple of these races where, we're going to talk about them, but they're not really a real betting proposition, but we try and sort of nail our colours to the mast sort of thing. I think Blue King de Rose, obviously the worthy favourite. You're getting about 6-4. It's not a bad price, I suppose, but it is short favourite. I won't be taking it, me personally. The only other one really that I was going to give a mention to, I mean, obviously the second favourite for Gary Moore, Spirit, whatever, has got a lot to find. So whether he can beat him, I'm not too sure. But it's one I'm going to give a little bit of a crazy mention to is the complete outsider of the field, Bojack, for Sophie Leach. Now you can get around 33-1 still. And I quite like this horse. He was a flat recruit. He had 4 runs for Emery de Bromhead, and he won one of them races. And then he's moved over to Sophie Leach. He did go over to France 12 days ago, and he finished second. But he definitely seems to look like he prefers better ground now. Obviously, he's got a 12-day turnaround to deal with and travelling back to here. But I just think at a big price, it might be worth you can get 3 places. A big price, I'd be tempted to have a little bit of an each way on Bojack. 33-1 because I think it's an open race. The top 2 are short, and if any of them sort of don't perform, I do think it's quite open from the rest. So I'd be willing just to take a little punt on him. Obviously, it's a 4-year-old, got to deal with the travelling and the turnaround, but if they're obviously going to run him, they fancy him to be all right. So fingers crossed he can maybe run into a place potentially, but I just thought he looked a bit overpriced personally. So instead of taking a short price, I'm going to take a little bit of a punt on Bojack.
Lovely stuff, mate.
Fantastic. Right. Moving on then, lads, to the 225. This is a good race, this. The handicap chase. 3 mile, 1 furlong. Lord Accord now I've got on here as favourite with Quick Draw for Nicky Henderson. Under supervision again for the Twiston team. Amaric, Twig, Brief Time. Some nice horses in here. I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, it's obviously tight handicap chase, but let's see if we can dissect it, mate. Philly Boots, who you with?
Yeah, mate, I'm going to follow the money on Lord Accord. I think his run last time out was more to blow the cobwebs away. He was dropped massively in trip 2 mile 5. He was prominent, lost his position. He looked well beaten. And then he started rallying 2 out. And he finished a fair enough 4th. He wasn't, disregarded or anything like that after for me. But he ran in the Scottish Grand National Handicap the end of last season, which was pretty telling that, that they do like this one. And he is more of a staying chaser than the 2 mile 5. I think the 2 mile 5 is a bit quick. He is definitely a 3 mile. He's won over 3 mile 1 before on good ground. So I think he is ground versatile no matter what you get. I think a lot of horses this start of the season, especially jumps wise, want softer ground. And this lad's won on good. So I think he's definitely not ground dependent. I have followed the money a bit. I wish he was bigger. What price have you got him at now, James?
You're looking at around 13-2 for him currently, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I mean, you can still get a good, an each way bet in there if you want. It is a very, very open race for me. Anything, I mean, you can never disregard Nico de Boinville, can you? And Nicky Henderson. They look pretty good, but this is the one I've landed on anyway. And I think the money sometimes at the start of the season is a big factor.
Yeah, and like I say, I mean, he obviously won the race last year. You know, he's only a £1 higher, and he's had a prep over hurdles. You can see why maybe the money's coming for him a little bit. But I mean, I come to you, Rich. I mean, are you going to go with the money, or are you looking at somebody else?
No, I'm going to go for a horse that I kind of followed all season last year. Kinondo Q2, is it? Is that how you say it?
No, Kinondo.
I was ready to say Rich Braveman Game isn't running this, is it?
It's my favourite handicap horse. So last season he started his chase career end of July, I think it was, rated 107, and then his last race at Uttoxeter, which was July this year, he was rated 145. So he's definitely improved as a decent chaser. You know, he was third last time out at Uttoxeter off top weight. He didn't really jump that well, but he still managed to press on and was staying on for third. You know, I think he is slightly up in trip here. I think 3 mile 1. But like I say, he was staying on last time at Uttoxeter, so I'm not worried about his engine. So yeah, he's the one that I will be following.
Only thing I've got to say about this race lads, is that Kinondo Cueto wins this race. I think, you know, his top weight has got to carry 12 stone, but it's not an issue for him. He's carried 12 stone before and won before. The race back at Uttoxeter that we've just previously watched, when he came third, he could not have made any more errors if he tried. It was just error after error after error, and he still managed to stay on and come a decent third. Only beat sort of 3 lengths or 3 1/4 lengths. Now, you know, everything's going to suit him down to the ground. If he puts it together, I think he's going to be really, really hard to beat in here. I think Quick Draw, I'd definitely be against Quick Draw. I think he's up £8 for the race that he won last time out. He beat 4 runners, of which there was an 8-year-old, 2 9-year-olds, and an 11-year-old in there. He was so entitled to win that race. I know he's won it 20-odd lengths, but £8, I just think he's going to maybe struggle against a lot better horses in here. Obviously, you mentioned Lord of Cord there. He's probably got a decent chance, but I just think if he puts it all together on the day, I think Kinondo Cueto, you can get around 12-1 now, which I think is quite big. But I think he's got a real big chance of winning this personally. So I'm all over Kinondo Cueto or Kinondo Cueto for Sam England and the win on Saturday.
Good
Fantastic.
Stuff.
Happy days. Right then, so we're going to move on to the 3 o'clock, which is the Potence Hurdle Series Qualifier Handicap Hurdle. You've got Bugs Morana's favourite in here. You've got the Irish Raider for Mullins. I'm sure we've all got eyes on this one with Townend on board. Wheel have won. Ring Duffer and Hugo's new horse. I mean, I'll come to you, Rich. I mean, I know there's obviously a Mullins horse in here, so we've got to keep an eye on him, but are you with him or are you going somewhere different?
No, I'm with Hugo's new horse for this one. Very consistent last year. He's won on various grounds. He won at Ayr last time out on Good to Soft over 2 miles 4. Staying on strongly, so there's no issues for me staying up to 2 miles 7. I was reading Nichols's stable tour again. He mentioned going maybe like the Cole Cup or something like that. I know this is a per temps qualifier, so potentially if he does well in this, it might change his mind. But you know, he showed a good attitude last year, and I think he's a horse that'll continue the upward curve, and I think he'll continue winning. Maybe even if he doesn't win this, I think there's races to be won with him, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously going to be you've got to be careful in these races. It's a Potence qualifier, so I think they have to finish in the top 4 to qualify. So you've got to be careful of those horses that some maybe don't want to win or are happy to lose, sort of thing. It's a weird way of thinking about it, but you know, I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, have you managed to find one you think is just going to be here to win?
To be honest, mate, I'm not a great fan of these, especially not betting wise and punting wise. I just think that, well, the horses are a lot better off finishes second, third, or fourth and placing than winning the race because you just get penalised a lot more. But what I do like and what I would keep an eye on is Bugs Morgan for Noel Mead. He's had a sort of a run of second places in competitive handicaps, by the way. The one at Galway and the one at Punchestown. One at Galway had 16 runners and the one at Punchestown had 25. The last time he was over 3 mile was at Fairyhouse when he beat Eric Budax. It was a dour stay. He stays all day. And the last run at Listowel over 2 mile 4 for me was just too short. He was travelling all over them, but just couldn't seem to get there, and then really kicked on in the last couple of furlongs. I think the step back up to 3 mile won't be a problem. I know it's raining down there, but I think this horse wants a bit of good ground. He comes second to Galway on soft, but he won on good yielding. So, like I say again, I think this horse is pretty versatile. He's an Irish raider. He's definitely one to look at. However, you just can't predict these because normally the better horses will finish second, third, or fourth, and then win later on in the season at Cheltenham. So, for me, mate, you shut your eyes like that and you just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the forecast there. I think they drew a little bit of rain, but not too much. I think it shouldn't be too far off where it is now. But yeah, it's a tough little race to decipher. I mean, the two I landed on, like you said there, I quite like Hugo's New Horse. I thought it looked quite progressive last season. He's a half brother to Black Court, and I was thinking they might go novice chasing with him. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how he goes on tomorrow. Whether it might just be a spin over hurdles for him then to go chasing. Maybe, I don't know, or if he wins, then they might stay over hurdles. But he's pretty ground versatile. He won't mind it either way. And he's sort of had races over 2 mile 4. He's always finished off his races like 3 miles should be fine for him. So I think he's probably got a really good chance. And I will just mention, obviously, the Willie Mullins runner. He sort of won pretty well last time out over at Killarney. I mean, if you go back and watch the race, he probably did everything he could up the straight to not win, sort of hanging quite badly. But if Paul can probably hold on to him a little bit longer, he won that off 1:16. Which is obviously his Irish mark. His UK mark's 1:29. He's got a little bit to find, but I just think when you look at things like meetings like this, when Willie does actually send him, he's only sending 2 over and Townend's over to ride them both. There's one in the bumper called Catch Yourself On. That's obviously an interesting one, so we'll see how he goes. But just makes you stand up and think why they're sending them over. But quite like Hugo's New Horse, and I probably might have a little play on Wheel of One, see how he gets on. But I think that's probably where I'll land, boys, to be honest.
Good stuff.
Fantastic. We'll see how that race goes. Right. So the next race, the last race we're going to do on the Saturday, and we're just going to give a little bit of a chat about it, really, see what we think. But the 4:10, obviously the novices chase got a little bit cut up with non-runners. There's only going to be 4 runners.
Which we are happy about.
Which I'm obviously happy about, which again, we'll speak about a little bit at the end. But Florin Porter, obviously the 2-time Stayers Hurdle champion, makes his chasing debut. We've all been caught. Who can be a little bit of a nutcase, also makes his chasing debut. I'll kick us off because my selection is definitely going to be Broadway Boy in here. I think he's definitely the one to be on the value play. I think 11-2 is quite big. He gets £3 off Toss again, who's got to be under. I think it's double penalty. Now I just think if you're taking 8-13 on about Florin Porter, you're probably not in the right headspace. First time out, it's such a short price, but. Broadway Boy, he beat Mufasa on his chasing debut, and I thought he jumped really well. He looked like the further he went, the better he jumped, and I just thought it was really impressive. I think he's definitely improved, and obviously the top 2 are way in front on ratings on hurdles, but I just think he's definitely improved for fences. And although he's got to give a little bit of weight away, I just think he could probably make all. I think he's obviously got Nico on. Nigel Trintons Davis is running 2 in here, but he's not putting like a claimer on. He's obviously gone out to get a good jockey on board. And I just think Sam's probably just fully committed to We've All Been Caught. He probably is too emotionally attached to jump off him. So just think at the prices, I think Broadway Boy's the play. I'll come to you, Joe. I mean, obviously, it's not. Are you going to be taking on the favourite of Floyd Porter? He's going to sit back and watch. What are you thinking?
Sit back and watch for me, mate. I mean, I'm sort of in your mind space as well in terms of if you're backing Florin Porter, first run of the season. Chase debut, you're mental because this horse is known for not running very good all season and popping up at Cheltenham and winning. So even when he is on, even when he's on the right track, he's not winning throughout the season. don't get me wrong. Gavin Cromwell said apparently this horse has taken to the fences like he's been jumped them all his life. But for me, I just can't back him on debut, chase debut. When he's not, he's been a horse before who's not meant to win early on in the season, so they're going to have to change something. Obviously, you've got 2 Nigel Twiston Davies horses here, so they definitely want to give it a go. Do you know what I mean? Probably side with you on Broadway Boy. The way he jumped on debut was really, really good. But I think it was it a Nichols horse that you mentioned it?
Mufasa, yeah, beat Mufasa.
Yeah, beat Mufasa very well. Wouldn't surprise me if Florian Porter, come here and beat them comfortably, but more of a watching race for me.
Yeah, and I'll come to you, Rich, on that sort of point. I mean, obviously, Florian Porter, in his stayers hurdle days, likes to go pretty quick off the front. Same with Reball being caught, he can be quite keen. And you got the front runner Broadway Boy. I mean, I don't know what they're going to be like in behind him, but it's a tasty little battle. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it's a risk, isn't it? I mean, Florian Porter was always a bit of a nutcase over hurdles. If he's the same over fences, I don't think he'll last long over this sort of trip. However, I do think if he is going to win over fences, I think you'll need to catch him early. So potentially, if he takes the fences, I think he'll win maybe either this or next time out. I think he may struggle as the season progresses and we start to see more of the novice chasers come out. So, the one I do like is Broadway Boy. Like you say, he beat Mufasa by 9 lengths. Steps up to 3 miles, shouldn't be an issue. Ground again, won on good to soft last time. So again, shouldn't be too much of an issue there. But it's going to be a good race. So all being well, we'll see what happens. Hopefully Florian Porter jumps well and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I definitely think. I mean, if Florian Potter does come out and win this, there's going to be some overreaction in the anti-post markets. No doubt, people will be backing him for all sorts. But I just can't see it happening down the line. By the way, so I won't be doing that. But I do think if you're a big fan of Florian Porter, you're better off watching and hoping he runs well. And if you want to have a play, I'd be on Broadway Boy as a little play against him. Lovely, fantastic. Right then, so that's it for the Saturday. So we'll finish off on the Sunday. We're going to head to Aintree, then we'll do a bit of anything else. And then we'll go through our naps and then a couple of things to speak about at the end, and then we are finished. But we're going to go to Aintree. We'll give a little bit of a mention. All the reason really I'll mention the 125, the Veterans Chase, is obviously I was on that eye right when he got beat.
Yeah, we can't back Good Boy Bobby. Cannot back that horse.
Good Boy Bobby's in
deserved winner.
I can't believe I don't even know how he won that race. Eye right obviously just got tired, bless his soul. I can forgive him, but Good Boy Bobby's got a little bit of race fitness again. He probably wins this as well, to be honest. It's not the best race, but I've maybe given each way squeak to Chicarico Vallis. He fell in the race that I right won. He fell really early on, so you just don't know what would have happened, but he gets weight from quite a few of these, so I maybe give him an each way squeak, but it's not really a big race, so I just thought I'd give it a mention. You boys want to give it a mention as well, or?
Not really.
Right then, so we're going to finish on the Old Roan Chase now. Obviously, we've got no betting for this currently in front of me, so I'll just run through a few of these. You've got Hitman, Tommy's Oscar, Midnight River, Manila Drama, Al Dancer hanging there. My Drogo, obviously coming off 600 odd days. Good to see him back. That's all right, Gino, and a few others in there. I'll come to you, Rich. Who were you thinking in here? I think you'll know who I'll go for, so I'll go last. Let's hear it.
My Drogo for me. I know he comes off a massive layoff and it is a bit of a risk. Is he the horse that he once was? But I think all the notes coming from the yard are quite positive. So, it's just a horse that I kind of like and followed ever since he won his bumper. He was technically unbeaten. He's only really fell at Cheltenham, but he won on his last start in a novice chase. I just hope he's back to his best, but he's the one that I'll be having a little each way bet. If he's a price of each way, I don't really know. He might be just because of his layoff, but I think he's the classiest horse in the race and probably got the most ability. It's just a case of that long layoff and hopefully the injury's not taking its toll.
687 days he's got to overcome. But we
He
shall
beats
see.
Hitman before. He beats Hitman before you even start putting
Sure.
that on.
So I'll come to you, Joe. Obviously, my Drogo's off this big layoff. I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't be able to touch my Drogo. That said, I do hope he runs really well and then kicks on, and we'll see what he does down the line. He's hopefully retains all that potential that he did have. But I mean, to take him this early on, I think would be a bit of a risk. But we shall see. I mean, who are you going for, mate, in the Old Roan chase at Aintree?
My nap of the weekend, and here, mate, and it's
Really?
yeah, Hitman.
You're winding me up, aren't you?
No, it's not really.
Well, the last time you joked about that was
The way of the weekend.
We fast or slow against Galloping Deschamps and Braesman game, and look what happened there. So thanks for the form boost, pal.
No, I'm in the sort of same camp as Rich, although I won't be having a bet on him. I'd love to see my Drogo run very well. Had all the potential in the world. He, like Rich said, I think was he the only horse he's beat by is I am Maximus. Yeah.
He got beat by Gin Online when he fell that time. The 2-horse race. Other than that, he's all good.
That doesn't. I'm not really counting that as getting beat. And then he come out last time, beat Torn and Fred, and beat the full field. He was wandering around. He couldn't have won it any easier. Obviously, it is a very, very long layoff, and I will not be backing him. But I would love to see him run a good race and maybe grab a graded race later on in the season or something when he's fit. I'll also give a little mention to Midnight River. I've backed this horse before. I think he's a very, very good handicapper, and I think he deserves his place here, actually. And it wouldn't surprise me to see Harry Skelton doing that on Sunday.
You know what? I think obviously my Drogo's got a lot of potential in there, but he's giving me kind of. Do you remember Top of the Game? Who won the? I think won the RSA back in the day, and then got injured loads. Never saw him reach that full potential. I mean, hopefully I'm wrong, and he does come back to what he may have been and does really well. But I couldn't have him on Sunday, but I want to see him run well and kick on.
Who do you like, James?
Well, I mean, I'm going to give a little mention to Tommy's Oscar, who won well last time, carrying 12 stone. I thought that was a pretty impressive win. And he comes into this race fit. But the one I'm on, and the lad, this horse, I will die on this hill. This horse is going to come of age this season. And he's going to finally reach the top of the tree and the potential that we've all been hoping, or I've been hoping that it will finally reach. And yes, the horse is Hitman. Now, I don't know what sort of price he'll be. It might not be a betting race for me or whatever, but I really want to see this horse go well.
Double figures, right?
What?
50 to 1.
If it's 50 to 1, I'll take that all day long. If anyone wants to give me 50 to 1, let me know in the comments. He was second in this last year. Ride of the Storm obviously beat him, but he was giving £20 to him that day. So I think it'd be good enough to go and win this time round. He won the graduation chase at Haydock. It didn't go to plan in the King George. He obviously pulled up. And the Denman chase, he also got beat. I think it was Sansa beat him. But
who beat him in the King George, James?
I can't remember. He don't stay any further than 2 mile 4 for me. So trying to make him into a staying chase, I just think it hasn't really worked out. So I think Nichols will be completely zoned in on the targets. I think the Ryanair will be the target once again. He come third in it to Envoy, and he was traveling all over them. He was traveling well enough with them Envoy and things like that. And when he jumped the second last, and then he come to take him out to the outside, I thought he's going to go and win this. And he just got outstayed by a couple of better older horses on the day. Envoy Island's obviously a great horse. Shishkin is obviously going to be going for a Gold Cup. Is a better stayer, whatever, that's fine. But I just think this horse is, I mean, Nichols always has said the horses that he said it with Braeman's game is coming in to be 8-9 years old or whatever. They get better with age. This horse is going to be 7 turning 8 this season. Another summer under his belt, and I just hope that it can go on this time and kick on a little bit better. With probably be a little bit more better campaign, to be honest. So, it's top weight in here, but I hope they'll have him primed, ready to go, and he can go and win this. And then I can laugh in everybody's faces that has ever doubted me or Hitman. So have a bit of that. Right. Fantastic.
One more.
So we'll go for anything else. So if you've got anything else you'd like to mention, I'll come to you first, Joe, because Rich probably got one length of his arm with 28 other than that. So have you got anything else you'd like to mention for the weekend? And then we'll do naps and we'll finish on any final points.
I do, mate. I have a sneaky suspicion on Sunday there is a horse running at Aintree in the 2:35 called Jaguar. I have a funny feeling he's going to run well. Now, if everyone's watched the video, we've obviously been to the yard and we know he is well liked. McManus has got his own, JP's got his own boy on this one, I believe, John Joe. He's definitely one to watch out for, that he got taken to the yard and then been given a year off. They wanted to run him, didn't they, last year, but they just didn't find the right time and he got ill a bit. So they sent him back home for a holiday. He's come back. He's a lot stronger. He's a massive horse, lovely looker. Fingers crossed I'll be watching that one, and fingers crossed he runs a good race anyway. And that's the only one for me, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll mention it in a minute, but have you got any more that you'd like to mention, Rich, before we talk about a couple of things at the end?
Yeah, there's a few. On Saturday, just briefly going to switch back to the flat very quickly.
Yes, Rich. Yes.
Let me know when you're going to say it. Go on.
So,
sorry, you're muted. You're muted, mate. Sorry. Go on.
Newbury 1:30. We've got Hamish running. There is an inspection for Newbury on Friday afternoon, so I won't be taking any sort of better than minutes. Potentially may not be on.
Flat horses at meetings that aren't going to be on.
Yeah, Hamish. If it is on, Hamish will love conditions. He's a soft loves the mud, so he's one I quite fancy. And then you've got the last group race at the flat at Donny, the 2:45. It's actually moved to the 2:10, I think. Second race at Donny now, just so they can get the decent ground. Well, the decentish heavy ground.
Currently heavy ground with rain due.
Yeah.
Is it going to be on, Rich, do you think, or they're going to move it again like they did that year, Cameco won at the all weather?
Well, there's an inspection due tomorrow for the Friday racing. I think they'll cancel that just so they can save the ground for the group race. So I think that's what's going to happen. But yeah,
so one race card, yeah.
As long as they get the 2:10 in, they can cancel the rest for me. Yeah, Ancient Wisdom for Godolphin. They've supplemented this horse. He's a horse that I've followed all season. He relished to step up to a mile. He's going to be a middle distancer next year. Hopefully he goes to the Guineas, and then hopefully he runs well like the Derby. So, I think he'll relish conditions. He won on soft at Newmarket last time out. Buick's on board. Moore's not on the
Is James
Coolmore
Doyle
horse. Doyle's on. So, Godolphin will have told him to let Buick win, otherwise he's not getting his wages for this month, I assume. So, that's the reason why we'll go for that one. And then a couple on the Sunday, you've got, like Joe said, Jaguar. It's a horse we all like. We went to the yard. Hopefully he's got a big future ahead. There's one at Wincanton for Nichols again. I think this one's come over from France. The 2:19 race. Is it Liari? Nichols mentioned that a few times. I think that could be one to follow for the season as well. I believe Sandor Clegane might be out at Galway as well. He's one that
116 he has entered, yeah.
Yeah, potentially one to look out for like the stay-in races this year. Hopefully he runs well. And then the last one is a horse that I think Jane potentially might mention. At Aintree, 12:50. No, but I will. I will leave it to Jane for not saying more. But, they're the ones that I've got for the rest of the weekend.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, I'll just have a race. It'll be a nice race. Affordel Fury's in there, and there's Antabar obviously finally going to be out for Obcore. He's entered at Wexford. Let's hope we get to see him finally after being talked about quite a lot last season. And obviously Jaguar for the Greenall and Guerrero yard. We obviously did the yard visit, to which I'll just pop this up. So if you haven't already, make sure you go over and watch the stable visit video, which is up on the podcast channel. We obviously got to get a lot of information off them and talk about the ins and outs, the in behind the scenes and things like that. They give us a lot of good information and mentioned a couple of nice horses. Obviously, the lads have mentioned them already. Jaguar's out on Sunday, and the other one that Josh sort of gave us a little bit of a dark horse for the season. No, but I will. He's out in the 12:50. Well, he's entered. Whether he runs or not, we'll find out. But he might be a price. Hopefully, it's a decent price. And he could be a bit of a dark horse. So we'll have a lot of intrigue watching him. In the Waterside, he's also out. He's a well-touted one for Nichols in the Jaguar race, so that could be a really tasty race, could that, to be honest. And the only other two I'll mention, I'm going over to Ireland, but Joyeux Vivo was a mention for me a couple of weeks ago before being a non-runner. I'm interested to see how that horse gets on. And the last one I'll mention is a point-to-point recruit from my Jumpers to Follow season, one of the first point-to-point recruits that I put up on the, I think it was episode 1. It was a horse called Working Away for Gordon Elliott. He's going to be out, or she's going to be out, hopefully, at Wexford in the bumper. So we'll see how she gets on as well. Right, that's it for an episode then, boys. We've covered some good stuff there. Fingers crossed we've picked out some winners. Obviously, there's been quite a lot going on this week. We obviously had the Green on Guerrero stable visit, which was fantastic. So thanks to everyone who's watched that and enjoyed that. And it's obviously helped us gather a bit of pace. We obviously had the Cheltenham anti-post countdown show week 1 on Monday. That become our highest viewed video within a day, which is brilliant. So thank you again for that.
Yeah,
we're currently on our way to 250 subscribers, which is pretty cool, pretty fantastic. So again, thank you for all the support. We do enjoy putting out as much good content as we can. So any likes and subscriptions and shares and that on social medias, follow us all on the socials. The Twitter handles are all at the bottom there. We are also on Spotify if you want to go and listen on there. It can be quite handy for anyone who's traveling and wanting to listen. This should be on there shortly after this. Once this goes up, I'll get it downloaded and put on there. But yeah, we are back obviously on Monday at 6 p.m. We'll be back for week 2 of the Cheltenham Anti-Post show. We'll add another couple of selections and we'll talk about again the week that we've just seen. Any big talking points? There's probably been a couple out already. We'll get through all them. And we'll be back again next Thursday as well for the next preview. So, boys, all there's left to say is thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe. Have you got any final words, boys?
No, just like I say, thanks for the views. You know, we were absolutely buzzing when we seen when I checked today the views we've got on the Cheltenham first anti-post video now that we put out. Obviously, big week, you know, with the Guerrero Yard, Greenall Guerrero Yard stable tour coming out too. So, no, brilliant. Like I say, Twitter's below, and I just checked. No, but I will. I think is declared Toby's being jocked up.
Yeah, fingers crossed he gets fully declared for the race and one we can probably all get on. Hopefully a big price. But Rich, one last word before we go.
No, just thank you all for watching and subscribing. You know, onwards and upwards. The season's just starting, so hopefully a big season ahead for everybody.
Yeah, spot on, mate. Like I say, a big season ahead, and hopefully you've enjoyed the content, and it's only going to get better, guys. We've got so much more to come and more plans, so fingers crossed you're enjoying it, and we'll crack on. So, yeah, thank you again. Thanks for watching, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. See you Monday. Bye-bye.